Of course, I will talk about CCPR and GMPR, the priority agenda items, the most important discussion items, and then some key recommendations and key messages. First, allow me to go through some reminders, maybe to make the understanding of the next slides to be better. The Codex Committee on Pesticide Residue is a general commodity committee. It is mandated to establish the maximum limits for pesticide residues in food and feed, to prepare priority lists of pesticides for evaluation by GMPR, but also to consider the methods of sampling and analysis and other matters related to food safety. Since the first meeting of CCPR in 1966, Codex has established more than 5,981 Emirates covering 200 pesticides. Now, who is the GMPR? The GMPR is the independent scientific expert body convened by both FAO and WHO. It's charged with the task of providing the scientific advice on pesticide residues and to perform the risk assessment and propose MRLs for CCPR to be after that adopted by CAG. Mainly the MRLs proposed by GMPR are done on the basis of risk residue data, what we call gap trials. But for specific cases, as per spices, for example, extraneous maximum residue level or the maximum residue level for spices can be proposed based on monitoring data. So CCPR developed until now 7 standards. Some of them are related to commodities. Many of the standards are related to the methods of sampling and the methods of analysis and the estimation of uncertainty of results in laboratories. And we find that recently in 2022, guidelines for the recognition of active substances, what we call the list of compounds that are exempt of MRL establishment, was also issued by CCPR. This work is performed by three e-working groups that are re-elected every year. The establishment of CCPR priority list and the joint meeting, the joint e-working group between CCR-VDF and CCPR, and also the e-working group on the management of unsupported compounds. But maybe since 2 years ago, we have another e-working group working on the guidelines for the monitoring the stability and purity of reference materials. Now coming to the official participation in CCPR 55, we were 250 delegates, counting for 47 member countries, between them 7 representatives from our region, which is a good number, and also we have 11 observers. There's some pictures from the committee shared, of course, by China to be linked with the event. So coming to the agenda of CCPR 55, it's of course one of the busiest agenda in between among other committees. We have like 13 items, but I will go through the most important ones. And let's start with agenda item number 6 here, which is the MRLs for pesticides in foods and feed at step 7 and 4. And I want just to remind, as Dr. Samuel stated before, in step 7, the standard or the MRLs are ready for adoption, but in step 4, the guidelines or the standard in general can be subject for further comments. So for agenda item 6 and for the priority list of 2024, we had 6 new pesticides evaluated for the first time and 17 new uses for pesticide evaluated before and 7 periodic review. So here are the main recommendations concerning the pesticides. So we have some pesticides that were advanced to step 5.8. It is the case for the majority of new evaluations, since the new evaluation is done based on food toxicology and residue data. So here I just named isothianine and mepiquat chloride. But finally, we have an MRL for polished rice for tricyclazole, as well as other commodities. Also, we have many MRLs that were retained at step 4. This is the case for many pesticides subject to periodic review that were during the CCPR 55 submitted to GMPR for further consideration. Or sometimes we have some pesticides like dinocap. After reaching the 15 years after the first evaluation and upon this discussion during the panel discussion, it were recommended or decided that dinocap will be given a chance for support by data until CCPR 56. So for pyrethins also, last year, the data submitted wasn't enough or wasn't matching the gap. So there were a call for a complete data set from sponsors for this pesticide. And the third category, we had, of course, MRLs that were revoked. This is mainly the case of those compounds not receiving any support by data from sponsors or from member countries. Of course, here when I cite the pesticide, for example, dinocap, it is not retained for all commodities. It is retained only for some of them. So in this slide, I want to take an example for fungicide, for example, propiconazole, for which there were during the panel meeting. So for propiconazole, the EU noted that the assessment of the metabolites of this fungicide has not been carried out by GMPR. So in the EU, they recalculate everything. So they did the recalculation and find that MRL should be set to 0.01 milligram per kilogram, while GMPR suggests 0.02, and the CCPR agreed to revise the proposed MRL for avocado, to 0.01 and to advance it to step 5 out of 8 for adoption. Help, please. Fine, it's okay. Again, for propiconazole, now this time concerning the use of processing factor, Singapore and Japan called for the retainment of MRL proposed for polished rice because GMPR extrapolated the MRL for polished rice by using the processing factor from paraboiled polished rice. And this time also, CCPR 55 agreed to retain the proposed MRL for rice for polished rice at step 4, while advancing the remain MRLs for other commodity to step 5 out of 8. So we move now to another agenda item, which is the management of unsupported compounds without public health concern. Here we have 6 compounds, excepting dinocap, which is retained for at step 4. For those pesticides, here the rule of 15-year applied. So for this pesticide, after applying the rule of 15-year and added to the rule of 4-year, did not receive any supporting data by sponsors or member countries. And here, CCPR recognized that revoking CLX due to periodic review of compounds, which mean compounds that were not supported by data, should not lead to trade disruption. And this encouraged member countries to work on submitting data to GMPR. And here, let's take a break and talk about a side event in the context of submission of data. In parallel to CCPR55 and with the support of CCNE coordinator, we had a meeting with CropLife International. The purpose of this meeting was to collaborate together or to see the possibilities of collaboration concerning supervised trials for crops and compounds of interest in our region, palm dates, vegetables, fodder, meat, etc. So we discuss this issue, and we find that many opportunities are offered for collaboration with CropLife. They will maybe help us with insight on toxicology and metabolism for some chemicals, because they have access to the data of the active ingredients, and also knowledge transfer about the supervised trials methodology leading to MRL or import tolerance setting. We also had a very interesting meeting with
إشرافية وأيضا
about data submission, which is a crucial, I think, a crucial issue and a challenge and opportunity at the same time, and a subject that we can work on the upcoming years. So I'm sorry. Dr. Madsen talk about the working process in the GMPR in terms of the procedure used to evaluate the toxicology of the compounds. And we talked also about the possibilities of integration of experts from our region in the roster of experts of GMPR. And even during the panel discussion, the CCPR encouraged the Middle East to provide dietary data for the GMPR evaluation to be better reflected in the dietary estimation. I think now we'll go back to the agenda items. So now concerning agenda item 10, of course, all the agenda items are connected together, and agenda item 10 about the establishment of codex schedule and priority lists. So just a small reminder that we have 5 types of tables of priorities, I mean, going from the new pesticide reaching the pesticide food combination for which specific data is not supported. So for 2024, it was done during the agenda item 6, and now we are talking about agenda item about the priority list for 2025 that can be subject to change or to data submission. So we have 6 new compounds and 2 reserve, 87 new uses that will be evaluated by GMPR, as well as 6 new periodic review, 6 periodic review and 7 reserve compounds. So between the recommendation of CCPR55, for example, carbendazim was added for periodic review of 2025 list, following discussion at CCPR55, and we note that carbendazim is a metabolite of thiophonate methyl, and in this case, in general, the discussion lead to the maintaining some pesticide as per carbendazim in the periodic review. As as soon as there is support by data from sponsor or member country. The story of spinetoram for those who attend the CCPR 55 also was shifted to 2025 priority list after a long discussion led by GMPR and WH and Codex, of course, but also the representative of the Minor Use Foundation. So for this year, we will, for the upcoming CCPR means we will not have a list of public concern of health public concern as per CCPR 55. Now, for the 2026, this is very important because here we have the possibility and we have the opportunity to provide data if any. So basically, GMPR has the capacity to evaluate 22 compounds, but there is a great backload. So some pesticides were also moved from 2027 list to 2026 as per indoxacar, piperine, betoxide, peripheries, etc. So we come now to the last agenda item, and for which very long discussion took place in the CPR 55. So it is about the analysis of previous decision by CCPR to establish MRLs for tomato and pepper, to establish MRLs for eggplant from the MRLs from tomato and pepper. In this special case, it is not the GMPR who conduct the assessment. It is the Global Pulse Confederation. They proposed to conduct an analysis of existing Codex MRL for both tomato and pepper during CCPR 54. They did the exercise. They identified the MRL of eggplant by extrapolation, and they did the assessment against several criteria. Between them, they go through identification of candidate. It means they look after all the MRL set for pepper and tomato and see which one could be applied or could be extrapolated to eggplant, applying exclusion criteria also between them if the pesticide is already scheduled for periodic review, so they didn't retain it. And if, of course, the pesticide failed the dietary exposure in the previous GMPR evaluation, it is not also, it is excluded. And after that, starting from, I think, 35 compounds, they reach 19 compounds, and they propose MRLs. They did, in fact, they did the calculation of the estimate short and long-term dietary intake. And they reached to this table that we have here, the name of pesticides and the MRLs. This work will be, or CCPR 55 recommends to review this work by GMPR. And to review this work, GMPR call for GAP label authorized by any member country. And of course, GMPR will not only review the risk assessment, but will review the full assessment because during the panel discussion, many members ask for if it will be possible to adopt this assessment approach for extrapolating other MRLs. So here we found ourselves with a very new condition. It is not the GMPR who conduct the risk assessment. It is a third party, if I can say that like that. So, and I think that many other changes will happen in the next upcoming years, according to many emerging issues. Like key messages, I can say that the work of CCPR is the process is interconnected, is form of interconnected activities, going from the nomination of pesticide for new evaluation, new uses or periodic review. And then, of course, I didn't talk about this agenda item, the national registration of pesticide, but I think many countries respond to the circular letter asking for the some active ingredients if they were or not registered in our countries. So data support is crucial to GMPR activities, and unsupported compounds leading to MRL withdrawal is a real disruption of trade, in my mind anyway. And of course, there is also a very, very important technical subject, technical topic. I think the CCPR have many news. So the GMPR will no longer use the dietary exposure approach used before based on GEMS food calculation. They will move to another approach called GCDE, which is more realistic, as they consider different categories of eaters, high eaters, babies, women, etc. So recent changes in the evaluation should be faced with adequate preparedness, and I think we are here to look after this preparedness for the future. Two side events took place in the CCPR 55. The first one is about the MR setting for minor use as per the agenda item 13 about the eggplant. So here, we have some crops that are cultivated small scale by small farmers, which lead to sustainability, to enhancement, to many other goals at national level, and setting MRLs for this commodities will help trade. The second side events were about the environmental inhibitors that are compounds used to mitigate the greenhouse gas emission and to increase food production. But these compounds can be finally found in food. So the discussion took place on how are these compounds currently regulated and what are the opportunities for harmonized approach, and what is kind of data requirement needed to undertake the risk assessment of these compounds. Also, when we were in CCPR 55, we celebrate the Food Safety Day by a meeting organized by a CCNE coordinator, and Codex Secretary was also attend also this meeting. So we didn't miss anything while we were in China. And I think my presentation was a bit longer. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much.